Inravio.com.
Our next guest is the lovely and talented Trish Hegarty, CEO of the Hegarty Group. She has over 30 years of professional real estate and property valuation experience and was a property tax specialist and small claims assessment hearing officer who worked with the Department of Assessment in Nassau County, New York. She's also a real estate broker, a certified appraiser, an entrepreneur, and now she's also consulting homeowners about tax grievance procedure and will be launching a new website very soon.
Yes.
So you seem like you've done everything in this space there is to do, it seems like.
It would seem, yeah. It would seem.
But she didn't do inspections yet.
No.
No, my brother does that. It's in the business.
It's in the family.
Yeah, my sister's also an appraiser. My brother does the inspections and the appraising, and I do pretty much every other thing.
So now you basically, you're a broker with Exit Realty, right? And
Associate broker.
Associate
Yes,
broker?
Yes. I'm calling myself a late bloomer because I've been a broker in real estate since I was 18, right out of high school, and never really had it catch until about 9 months ago. And it's pretty exciting for me because it's been really great. I'm having a lot of fun. It doesn't even feel like work, and it's been really good.
Well, you're very outgoing, and I could definitely see you in that position, selling.
I don't even call it selling. I just talk to people, and it works. So it seems to be all firing and I'm doing the right thing.
On all cylinders, right?
Yeah, yeah. So when it comes to the tax grievance part, I did that stint for about 5 years and learned a lot. And with everything else that I know, it just was a natural segue into doing that and wanting to help people learn and do it on their own to grieve their own property taxes, which is one of the biggest expenses a homeowner has other than a mortgage.
Right, yeah. And you were saying how many people grieve their taxes every year?
It's crazy. Nassau County alone has approximately 425,000 parcels, and they were in excess of over 100,000 last year that people grieved. They're in the process of doing a mass appraisal right now, which means they're reassessing the entire county. And it's going to be interesting what happens with that because they're going to assess those parcels to be market value when they're right now below market value in a lot of areas. So what I teach people to do is to grieve their own taxes so they don't have to pay somebody else to do that. You know, you're getting some people that if you were to hire somebody, you could pay 40% up to 75% of your first year savings on your tax bill to have someone do it for you. Whereas I teach you and I'll charge you $99 to fill out the form on your own, submit it on your own, and you have control over what happens with it. So it's really, really simple. And I want people to be able to put that extra money in their pocket, which I think they wouldn't mind.
No, I wouldn't mind.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what made you come up with this idea? I mean, of course, you see, you know, with Nassau County and you being involved in the small claims and all of that, you've seen so many people grieve their taxes every year.
Yeah, personally, I would do approximately 40 a day when I was working, so that equated to almost 200 a week for 5 years, give or take. So I met a lot of representatives who filed on homeowners' behalves. But after I was laid off from Nassau County, I waited the 2-year time period because we did have a contract with them. And I felt it was a natural progression because people knew that I did that and they wanted to know how they could do it as well. So it really just popped into my head one day to do it. So.
And the idea was to try to make it easy for people to do it on their own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. We're having a good time doing it.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun.
You like helping people, and that's important.
That is true. That is true.
So you feel that everybody should grieve their taxes every year?
Right now, yes, because it's so inequitable, especially in Nassau County because of the grievance process and how it's done there. Suffolk County has a similar one. Every township has different grievance days, different time periods that you're supposed to grieve your taxes. So for the average person, it might be a bit disconcerting to try to figure out when and how and who you submitted to. I actually had a friend of mine, she called me the other day. It was the day of grievance day. It was the last day, May 17th, for the town of Babylon. And she went to go fill the form out. She said, I'm scared. I don't want to fill it out. I said, okay, I'll fill it out for you. I said, then you can take it to the town. No, I'm scared to go to the town. I said, what do you think they're going to do to you? She shut down, so. And I understand that.
Right.
I understand that. But it's.
Well, I think there's a lot of people that have misconceptions. Like, if you grieve your taxes, is it possible it could go up?
Not likely. And it's a lot of people, some people feel like if they put attention on their home that it may indeed do that. They have certain caps that they're not allowed to exceed every year, the towns and the assessing areas. So, no, it's probably not likely.
They wouldn't take a look at it and go, wow, we're not charging this one enough. We got to charge them
Well,
more.
they know all of the parcels. They have the inspectors and the building department people that go out based on permits, and if your house was being constructed, they would be able to and know that your house is being constructed. There aren't many surprises that the taxing jurisdictions get exposed to. They
So
pretty
it's
much
not
know.
likely that it would go up. They're pretty much charging you what they need to charge to get their money.
Yeah.
Now, what about people that were involved in some sort of major construction or Sandy, let's say, where they don't have a full house back? Or maybe it's still under construction.
Well,
on Long Island, I know that's a big concern because we had a big superstorm
Right.
hurricane that came through Sandy. So
Right. Well, in my situation personally, I was able to apply for a 25% reduction the first year after Sandy. And unfortunately, a lot of people didn't know that. And the year that I actually applied for it was a year that I grieved my taxes, and I ended up going to SCAR, which is the Small Claims Assessment Review, which is the second step in the process. Once you fill out an application, and that application for Nassau County, I'm talking about, goes to the Assessment Review Commission. Assessment Review Commission said, no, I'm not giving you a reduction. And I said, well, I think I'm entitled to a reduction. And I went to small claims court. I won. But in the process, they said, well, you're winning just because you have a Sandy exemption of 25%. And I didn't even know about that. And when my neighbors found out, they were a little upset that I got this reduction, and they didn't. So
now that's just the first year. What about the years after?
I've continued to grieve because my house is still, it's probably in line now, but I'd still say it's probably a little overassessed.
Well, I mean, if somebody didn't take advantage of the 25% the first year, can they still do that now?
No, it's done.
It's done.
Yeah, they had a deadline. I don't recall what it was. But I think everybody, because of the inequity, because so many parcels are unassessed or are assessed improperly, that's why they're doing the MS appraisal. And it's going to level everything out and even everything out as far as if all three of us had the exact same style house in the same town, they're all basically worth the same amount. Right now, that's not the case. And that's inequitable.
Now, is that how it works? Is it the houses around you, they have to be the same kind of house to be valued about the same? Is that how?
Well, you find sales that have sold that are similar to yours. You have to be
Property size?
Yeah, property size, amenities within a certain amount of time. They have to be arm's length transactions, which means they can't be estate sales or distressed properties. They have to be on the open market with no interference from any kind of distress. So as an appraiser, I look at those sales differently than even as a broker would look at them. So you have to do the apples to apples, oranges to oranges when you're comparing your properties.
And that would be a good rule of thumb to judge how much your property is valued at and how much you should be paying tax-wise.
Yeah. But the thing a lot of people don't realize is that, even though you're reducing your taxes and your neighbor isn't, the fact that you are is the reason why your neighbor's paying higher taxes. In other words, because you're reducing what you pay the county, they still have to pay it, and their taxes will go up. Yours won't, because you probably will get a reduction.
Because there's a certain amount that the county needs to get in order to make their budget.
Exactly,
So
the
that
tax
money's got to
levy.
come from somewhere else.
Right.
And
Right.
that's the tax levy.
Right, and I want to educate people, just even reading their tax bills. The top right number of the tax bill for the town of Oyster Bay is the tax levy amount, which is the amount of money the tax needs to run. And that number never changes, it always goes up. And when people reduce their taxes, they're getting them from somebody else. So,
And what are some of the other misconceptions that people have about grieving their taxes? Because it seems like there's really not a lot of people that do it.
that it's difficult, it really isn't. There's a form that everybody can download from ORPS, which is the Office of Real Property Tax Services. It's a state-run organization, and it's called the RP 524. It's a 3-page form which you fill out, and they tell you how to fill it out.
And you're
really simple.
basically, one of the things you were thinking about was to do like a webinar showing people how to fill out the
Exactly.
form.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. $99, I can teach you how to grieve your taxes. It's going to be very simple. 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes, I think we're going to go. And it'll teach people how to do it. Easy.
And you drop it off and you're done.
And you're done.
Now, is there a fee involved in it? Is there anything that they have to be concerned about as far as fees go?
Nope.
Now, the other thing you were saying too is that you're actually serving them, right? You're
The
actually
Department of Assessment, yeah.
You're actually taking them to court is what really
Well,
is happening.
not initially. Initially, you're just serving the Department of Assessment.
That you want
You know,
to
every
review.
jurisdiction is a little bit different. Town of Babylon, you literally sign in and you hand them the piece of paper, they stamp it. You can take a picture of it with your phone. They won't give you a copy. But the Assessment Department in Nassau County, who takes all of them, will take your application, and if it goes to ARC and ARC does not give you a reduction and you feel that you are entitled to a reduction, it's at that point you need to pay the $30 filing fee, reserve the Department of Assessment, and have it go to SCAR. And then SCAR will...
And that's like the small claims.
Small Claims Assessment Review, yeah. And then that's when they'll call you into court and say you have a court date, you know, bring triplicate of everything, proof that you realize that your property is worth less than what we have you assessed for, and you prove it. It's easy.
It's easy.
Easy.
Easy as 1, 2, 3.
Exactly.
So what are some of the other misconceptions that people have? Seems like they're always put off by doing it.
Well, one of them is, it's funny because people think of their house value at 2 different points in their life in 2 different ways. When they're paying taxes, they always think their house is worth less. And then when they're selling their house, they always think their house is worth more. Right. So when you try to put them in the frame of mind now, listen, your house actually may be worth what you think it is, and you have to pay your fair share. I'm all about paying your fair share. You know, I don't want to teach people to say, you know, everybody grieves even though your house is not is under-assessed already, but it's an equitable thing. You know, we all have to pay our share.
Right.
And it really is what it's all about, because there's so many parcels out there that are overassessed.
And how do you know you would be underassessed? That maybe you shouldn't like ruffle any feathers. What's a good way to know?
You look at sales in the area. You know, you can hire someone like myself that could pull those sales up for you and determine it for you.
And just see what the house is
Yeah,
going
because
for.
the county has you assessed at a certain amount, which I can easily pull up, and I can, based on sales, tell you what it's worth.
That's on the tax bill as well, right?
Your assessed value is, yes, but it's, you know, Multiple Listing Service, which is the organization as a real estate broker that I use. It's on there as well.
Right.
Under public records. Yep.
Interesting.
So do they have to come into your house to know what it's worth? So whatever you have inside means nothing?
It means something, yeah, but you have to be signing and attesting to that on your form. You can't say that you have 2 bedrooms or 2 baths, and you actually have 5 bedrooms and 4 baths.
No, I mean like fancy furniture or really fancy kitchen or something means nothing. And your taxes.
Fancy furniture, no. Fancy kitchen, yes. Yeah, and they go by the fixtures, the amount of plumbing fixtures in the house. You know, I was trying to explain this to my 17-year-old the other day that, you know, your assessment is based on basically someone like driving across the roadway surface. You got to think it like that, because that's where they originally came up with a lot of these assessment ideas, is that it's the wear and tear on the road surfaces, wear and tear as far as the jurisdiction, as far as the sewers and the water district and the fire districts. They all are assessing units. And all of those things put together with the value, size, amenities of your home is what creates your tax bill. And obviously, the other things that need the county to run, you know, salaries and school districts and so on.
So in other words, if you have more bedrooms, you have more people. If you have more people, you could have more people going to the school.
Simplistically, yeah. It's
More people driving over the road.
Yeah.
more cars.
Yeah, that's a very simple way of looking at it, and there's a much more complicated way that they do acquire that information and get that value, but
How much garbage you're putting at the curb. And
it all plays
it all plays into
Yeah.
how much money you have to pay
Yeah.
to be able to support that size
And
house.
right, and that's why different classes of properties are assessed differently. You know, you have a class 1, 2, 3, 4, which are commercial and residential and industrial, and they're all assessed differently for different uses.
Are there different types of residential assessments, or is it all just residential?
Residential has a class 1 or a 210. Every jurisdiction has a different code. But up until a 4-family, and again, you may correct me if I may stand corrected with this, but I believe up to a 4-family, you can be assessed similarly to a single family.
But I mean, as far as, say, like a doctor's office, I've seen those.
It's assessed differently.
That's
Yeah.
assessed differently too than a regular residence?
Yes. Yeah.
Would that be assessed more because it's a business? Or? Yeah,
They pay more tax. Way more. Way more.
because they're a business.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Doctors and dentists and
Yeah.
lawyers and
Exactly.
insurance
Exactly.
agents.
And they also try to grieve their taxes too. And when I was at the county, they had one case that the county won or didn't win. To grieve your taxes on the commercial level is very difficult, and it's much more expensive.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot bigger process, I guess.
No, back in the day, you know, we were all, back in even 15 years ago, we were all paying $5,000, $6,000 in taxes. And now the average home in Nassau, Western Suffolk, is paying $12,000 to $13,000 a year. And for some people, that's a deal breaker. That's when the kids are out of school, that's it, they're done. They can't afford it. So it's going to be interesting when the mass appraisal's over, what's going to happen in Nassau County. Stay tuned for that.
So what can a person hope for in their reduction? I mean, can you hope for 3,000 or 4,000, or is that just goofy?
No, I mean, if you can really prove that your property is overassessed, you can get that. There's a maximum cap that if your value of your home is $450,000 or more, you're not going to be entitled to more than a 25% savings. A lot of people don't know that little tidbit. You know, the average home in this area is $300,000. And I'm talking Western Suffolk, Eastern Nassau. And if your property is valued at $450,000 or less, you can enjoy 100% savings. So in other words, if you can prove that your property is overassessed by $3,000, and we don't talk tax dollars, we talk assessed value dollars, you can get it. But with Nassau County, the issue with Nassau County is that they are not paying you those reductions back because of the deficit and NIFA overseeing them right now. So they haven't given anybody a grievance refund in many, many years.
Does anybody ever get a refund, or they just get their bill lowered?
They do get their assessed value lowered, but they
But
should
that's
also be
going
getting a
forward.
check.
Really? I didn't know that was possible.
For that current year, I
Right,
guess.
for the year that if they say I have 2 years that I'm still waiting for reduction grievance checks from. I haven't received them.
So they just give you that going forward.
Right. You do get the assessed value reduction, but you're still paying a little bit less tax based on that, but you should also get a refund. There's a lag. There's like a 1.5 year, 2 year lag with Nassau County. Some of the jurisdictions, it's a little less. Town of Babylon, they're actually in the tax year that they're working on, but everybody's different. It's just really confusing in that regard, yeah.
Yeah, it seems confusing in that regard, yeah.
Yeah, but things are looking up. You know, on a brighter note, values are increasing. Still a little bit of a stigma with all the Sandy houses. North of Merrick Road in Massapequa, we had an over $800,000 sale, which is unheard of for the area. I was talking to a builder today about it, and he's building a house that he's going to be living in. And he said when he's done, it's going to be worth $850,000 on a side street off
Wow.
one of the major thoroughfares in North Massapequa. It's incredible. Never thought I'd hear those values up there.
Wow.
Yeah. So things are looking up.
That's good.
Yeah.
On a positive note.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank you for coming in. That was very enlightening.
Oh, good. I'm glad. glad you liked it.
And I can't wait for the website. That's going to be good.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
That's going to be up and running by next year?
Hopefully by the end of this year. Yep.
Excellent.
Good.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right, Trish Hegarty.
Inravio.com.